Part 2 of the Brandrivier Pass covers the section from the 5th to the 11th kilometer and includes the traverse of the Chromecurve farm. If you intend driving this pass, it's important to watch Part 1 first, which includes important information on directions, safety and other protocols. We now continue with tourism information all about the Klein Karoo. Nearby Oudtshoorn is the principal town of the Klein Karoo, and vast numbers of ostriches are farmed in the area and are a common sight in the farmlands along the road. Beyond Oudtshoorn, the R62 joins the N12 highway south towards George across the Outeniqua Mountains on the coastal littoral. Before ascending the Outeniqua Pass towards George, the R62 swings east in concert with the N9 highway towards Uniondale at the eastern end of the Klein Karoo. The road at this point begins traversing the Chromecurve farm. The official name is Chromecurve 11. The borders of this farm are circular, as opposed to having straight lines. This stems from the early 1800s, where farm borders were established by means of how far from a central point a man could ride on horseback in a single day without having to water or feed his horse. Thus, many of the older farms have circular borders. At the 5.5 kilometer point, there's a short descent as the road dips through a side ravine, then it climbs again to reach the true summit point at the 6.7 kilometer mark at an altitude of 502 meters. This is a perfect spot to take a break and enjoy the 360-degree views over the Klein Karoo, where you will more than likely be the only traveler, as this pass is truly a road less traveled. At the summit point, there's a permanent change of direction as the road descends steeply down a long ridge towards the Brandrivier. This descent is 3.6 kilometers long and 265 meters of altitude is lost in the process. The terrain and gradients are actually quite reasonable, but make sure that you don't sit on your brakes. Rather use engine compression to suppress your speed. An alternative route from Oudtshoorn to Uniondale continues east along the N12 highway towards De Rust and beyond via the R341 and the R339 to Uniondale through the beautiful valley between the Swartberg Mountains in the north and the Kamanassiberge to the south. Beyond Uniondale, the R62 exits the Klein Karoo via Uniondale Poort and the spectacular Langkloof towards Port Elizabeth. Access to the Klein Karoo from the winelands of the Western Cape, the southern coastal strip and the Great Karoo to the north and northeast is almost exclusively by means of mountain passes. These mountain passes were mostly constructed during the 19th century by renowned road builders Thomas Bain and his father Andrew Geddes Bain, and either pick their way through steep ravines following the course of rivers that have cut their way through the mountains or up over the precipitous heights of the surrounding mountains. Meyringspoort, Seweweekspoort and Toorwaterspoort, linking the Great Karoo with the Klein Karoo, Kochmanskloof at the western end of the Klein Karoo, and Traro Pass linking Barrydale with Swellendam are all examples of mountain passes that follow the course of rivers that have cut their way through the sheer barrier of twisted rock of the surrounding mountains. Renowned passes, such as the Swartberg Pass, linking the towns of Prince Albert and the Great Karoo with Oudtshoorn, and the Outeniqua Pass and the now little-used Montague Pass, carry travellers over the Outeniqua Mountains from Oudtshoorn to George on the Garden route. Up ahead, the end of the long descent beckons and is indicated by two danger signs. Near the bottom of the descent you'll see a Y-junction. Keep on the right-hand option, and soon another farm gate blocks your path. It feels like you're entering private property, but this is not the case, as the DR1732 is a publicly accessible road. All that is required for you to make sure that you leave every farm gate as you find it. Proceed slowly and mind the aggressive dog, which is usually chained up at the first house on the right, and proceed slowly through the farmstead. After 100 meters, there's a second gate. Immediately after the second gate, turn sharp left, following the fence to your left. It's very easy to make a mistake here, as it feels correct to take the right-hand fork. The road traverses the main farm buildings at Chromecurve on your right and drops quickly down to cross the Brandrivier via a concrete single-width bridge. The bridge occurs at the 10.3 kilometer point. At this point you've now completed the more difficult part of the pass. The road condition improves markedly after the bridge. Next up is a stiff climb up the far side of the valley. As the road climbs, it bends through 100 degrees towards the right. At the apex of this bend there's an intersection. To remain on the main road, please keep right. Soon you'll arrive at another farm gate. Be sure to watch part 3 and the final video in the series on the Brandrivier Pass.